Alright, I'm on my notorious Conor McG shit today. I'm Rex and Pukaniki, and we're ballin'. Today, tomorrow, and maybe yesterday. At what cost? Alrighty, Roo. Welcome back to the show. We got another week of NFL passed. However, still no big events in UFC. Singapore is still, now it's finally around the corner. So a little bit more content to talk about, but it's still a little bit more NFL. Been a hectic week once again. I honestly don't think it was as eventful as last week, but still a lot to talk about. The F1 scene there's definitely some things to talk about. A couple seats lost, a couple seats been taken. And otherwise USC being a little weird this weekend. I want to talk about that a little. But anyways, I'll just jump straight into NFL and start recapping the games. So basically, the first game we had Browns versus Steelers. Coming into this game, I don't know, because I kind of said in the other podcast that, you can never count the Steelers out because Mike Tomlin, no. But now I'm thinking you can never count them out, but you can't really count them in either, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you're with a girl for the first time and you're nervous, and it's just like, you try your best, but, you're nervous. So, can't count them out, but you can't count them in either. I mean, I think the big fault in the Steelers game is just Mitch Trubisky. Like, I genuinely think this guy kind of sucks. Sure, he had a good freaking college career, but man, he has not shined at all on the NFL stage. I think there's just way too much inconsistency with Steelers, and I feel like it's going to keep on going, right? And like I said, it's just you can't win a game against the Browns if you don't have a solid game plan to try to stop Nick Chubbs or Kareem Hunt. If you don't have a solid plan defensively to stop those guys, then they're going to run you over. So, it was kind of like after I saw that they were letting Chubb just run around, Kareem Hunt just run around, I was just like, all right, this one's probably over. The Steelers, and see, that's the weird thing about the Steelers. So now they have tough matchups pretty much until their bye week, and their bye week is week number 9. So they still have 5 more games, and they're all insane matchups. No, not insane matchups. Tough matchups for the Steelers. Very good teams or very decent teams that they're going up against. And that's the weird thing. I genuinely don't see them losing all those matchups. There's no way, right? There's for sure they're just going to upset once or twice, right? Before week 9, before their bye. So it's weird. They're just weird, They're probably gonna go in as underdogs every single match going up till their bye week. But mark my words, they at least make 1 or 2 upsets. It's gonna happen. Somehow they always just kind of figure it out on a Sunday or whatever day it is. Most likely Sunday. and they're gonna pull off some miracle victories. This is why I'd never want to bet on the fucking Steelers this season. It's just gonna give me way too much anxiety, and it's gonna there's no way I'm gonna get it right. I just know, So that's the Steelers versus the Browns games. Glad the Browns are still doing pretty okay. Genuinely, they're in the solid mid level. They still have a good basis, and it's just very concerning how inconsistent the Steelers are. Or and just please, Miss Trubisky, get your shit together, please, 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 please. All right. Anyway, so Browns beat the Steelers 29-17. And going on to the next game, this was the heavyweight matchup right here, which was the Dolphins versus Bills. Both teams came into the game undefeated, 2-0. And someone was going to leave with their first L of the season. And they played it in Miami. So it was a grueler in that sense that it was just beaming down humid heat the whole time. There's some teams genuinely go practice they go to somewhere else in Miami or somewhere else in Florida a week before or 2 weeks before just to practice in the heat so they can get used to it. It's insane. It's pretty much how you would have to adapt for cold weather when it's snowing as well. So anyways, the game was tied up 14-14 coming into the second half. And I think overall the difference maker of this matchup was the Dolphins defensive team. The Dolphins defensive team was genuinely playing much better than the Bills defensive teams. They were making much more bigger plays, much more impactful plays. Constant D-line pressure made Josh Allen run like crazy, yo. Josh Allen was running. D-line was always boom, forces Josh Allen out of the pocket. Josh Allen has to run, can't find a wide receiver, no one to help him, so he ran so many first downs. It was crazy. Or not ran, so got the first down. And and the Bills defense just weren't making impactful plays like that. And this game was definitely talk of the town when it comes to week 3. There was more than a couple viral moments. The first one was a little bit more on a serious note. Tua, I have to look at the screen for this one. Tua Tagovailoa, which is the quarterback for the Dolphins. He took a hard tackle, after the snap, after he threw the ball or gave the ball away or whatever. And he took a hard tackle, probably got slightly whiplashed. And it was viral since the camera was on him when he got up, and he was wobbly coming up. And then after he got up and his teammate checked on him, he took a few steps and then he stumbled and fell. Kind of what you would see with, if a fighter got rocked, and their legs are gone. It kind of looked like that. And it's kind of crazy because then he obviously, after something like that, he gets taken to the sidelines and taken to they do a concussion check off the rip from the team doctors. But the crazy thing was he got checked and then he still came back. So he was only gone for a play or two, and then he came back. And because of this, now the NFL has launched an investigation towards the medical team of the Dolphins, because I don't know, I mean, it looked very concerning, to be honest, right? Especially when it was like, I don't even understand, because some, wide receivers, they're running all the time, full speed. They jump up, freaking like catch the ball, or not even, they don't even have to catch the ball, and they're bam, boom, freaking rock their heads all the time. So it was kind of scary to see, like, even on like such a simple little tackle. It wasn't like I saw the tackle. I don't think it was like any crazy violent tackle or like a hard hit or anything. But it was just genuinely kind of concerning to see like a quarterback like that stumbling around, you know. But then again, he came back and then he still played normally. It wasn't like, it was kind of just that one small incident, right? So I think maybe, there was a chance. Hey, maybe it's like the heat, it genuinely could be the heat. You got stood up way too fast or something like that, and the heat's beaming down. He's a little bit dehydrated, and then he's like stumbling, or maybe he just tripped. Who knows? So in that sense, I don't think it was that big of a deal, but it genuinely looked concerning. So it was definitely going viral on the social media platforms. And hold on. So another viral moment was when the Dolphins were in their own they were in the opponent's touchdown zone. So I guess their own touchdown zone, right? What they're trying to defend. And basically, if you go backwards, like behind, then it's a safety, right? And it was fourth down, so they had to punt it out of the touchdown zone. And there was genuinely like very little space. I think there was like maybe, was it like around 10 yards of space for the ball to get snapped to the punter, and then the punter to try to somehow kick it out, while the Bills D line is just coming at you. However, it was a major fail because the punter. Okay, first of all, it looked like the punter absolutely rocked it, but he rocked it like backwards. Like, that's initially when I saw it live, that's what it looked like. So he took the ball and then he freaking punted it like backwards into a safety. That's what it looked like. But then it turns out that there was so little space that the punter had kicked it forward, but then it lightly tapped, or it straight up full on hit one of the offensive linemen or someone who was protecting the punter. It looked like it, on slow-mo, it literally just bounced off the dude's butt into a safety. So it was absolutely hilarious to kind of see that just happen. It's like, I'm sure he could have gotten it forward, but it was just so little space, and the pressure's coming in and all that. So then freaking just rocked it up a dude's ass, and then the freaking ball goes backwards into a safety. I mean, geez. I was thinking, like, imagine if there was some rule that like you can like score our own field goal. Like, that would have been insane. That would have been number one fail ever in the NFL. I mean, this was already a big enough fail. I mean, there was tons of memes about it, but kind of a hilarious moment considering how serious and locked in the teams were. And talking about locked in, the last viral moment of the game was when so the Bills were in a race against time in the fourth quarter. They were genuinely on the last few seconds. They were just trying to snap the ball so they can still make one more play, timeout, make one more play or something. And they weren't like that far away. If anything, I think they could have kicked the ball for a field goal. But the whole thing was they made a play, or I think, Josh Allen threw it to like a receiver or running back. They ran it a little bit, and they missed out by like just a few seconds to try to snap the ball in time before the game clock ends, right? Till it's like no more play time. And they missed it by a few seconds. And then the broadcast goes, in the NFL, there's some offensive coordinators or like defense, some like team coordinators, and the guys who like make play calls and stuff like that and communicate with the coaches. They sit in a booth in the stadium, like they're not on the sideline. And they've even had a camera showcasing like the coordinators in those booths. And in this booth, they had a broadcast of the offensive coordinator of the Bills, and the camera's right next to him, like he's the main subject of the shot. And then right after the Bills failed to snap it on time to still try to kick a field goal to win the game, when they failed, it just goes to the Bills offensive coordinator absolutely just fucking losing it. He full on raged, full on ball of fury, took his notepads, freaking iPad, and just started smashing it, raging. And then some person had to like genuinely to have their hand and cover up the camera because he was losing it. And it was kind of funny to see in the post game press conference when they interviewed the guy. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm usually pretty a calm dude," and all that. And so man, so much respect for this game. The Dolphins beat the Bills 21-19. There was a video of Tua and Josh, the two quarterbacks, like hugging it out, absolutely fucking drenched, absolutely tired out of their minds. It was an insane game. Respect to the both teams. They're both in the top 5, I'd say, in the whole league. So it was really nice to see this matchup. It was nice to see how intense it was. And even though it wasn't genuinely one of those high scoring games, but it was still a very, very entertaining game to watch. So good on both teams. And pretty nice to see the Dolphins. Unbeatable. All right. Next up, we have Jets versus Bengals. This one, thankfully, I don't have to talk about much because it's the fucking Jets, right? And let's just say the Bengals did finally what they were supposed to do, right? So finally, their O-line didn't crumble like all the other times, and Bengals were able to pull off the win 27-12. I genuinely think if the Bengals would have lost, then the whole team would have followed Joey Burrow's footsteps, and fucking the whole Bengals team would have probably deleted their social media after this one if they would have lost. So thankfully, they took the win. I'm not going to talk too much more. Good on the Bengals, right? And, And Zach Wilson's supposed to come back, to replace Joe Flacco in the Jets. So maybe the Jets gain a little bit more traction when Zach Wilson's back on the field. But anyways, we'll move on to the next game. Next game, we have Titans versus Raiders, 24-22. And this one is like, I don't want to talk about this game too much either because it just fucking depresses me. I said in the first episode or the second episode, I said the Raiders might do some crazy shit and they might go to the Super Bowl. That ain't going to happen, guys. That ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. Devontae Adams is hugging his fucking pillow with an Aaron Rodgers jersey on the pillow. He's hugging it. He's missing Aaron Rodgers right now because, goddamn, Derek Carr can't throw the man anything, man. Yeah, they're 0-3. They're the only team that hasn't won this. The only team in the league that hasn't won yet, and it's baffling. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But I'm just not gonna talk about. They suck. They suck right now. They gotta just give Devontae Adams the ball. Just do what Joey. Do what Joey Burrow did with Jamar Chase last season. Fuck it, he down there somewhere, right? That's what Joe Burrow said about Jamar Chase. Fuck it, he down there somewhere. Carr, use that mentality. You got Devontae Adams, the fucking best wide receiver in the whole goddamn league. Fuck it, he is gonna be down there somewhere, dude. Just yark the ball, please. All right, then maybe we can beat a fucking shitter team like Titans, man. God. All right, next game. Panthers versus Saints. Now, finally, Baker Mayfield, and the Panthers, they have a win under their belt. I mean, the Saints offense was just pretty much completely shut down by the Panthers defense until the fourth quarter. But obviously by then it was a little too late. They were just playing catch up. So the Saints weren't realistically able to get anywhere. But I mean, I think it was a very impressive showing from the Panthers defensive team. I mean, the defensive team was just playing out of their mind pretty much. They were just outworking the Saints offense pretty much completely. Dominant. It was a pretty dominant performance, I'd say. Oh my god. Yo, by the way, guys, this is my first morning kind of podcast, so I don't know if I'm gonna be more locked in since it's the morning or how it works. But anyways, let's just had to let you guys know. That's why I got the coffee and everything. Anyways, Panthers did really, really well, the defense at least. And the one thing about this game that had me tripped out was the second touchdown that Jameis Winston threw. There was like genuinely no explanation as for why Jameis Winston threw that, because Jameis Winston was coming out of the pocket, slightly out of the pocket, and he saw his receiver. But even in his peripherals, he should have seen at least three other Panthers defenders, right? Genuinely, they were all surrounding that one guy, right? And there is no reason why Jameis Winston should have let go of that ball, right, and thrown it into the crowd or like the ball of just receivers and quarterbacks. But he didn't. There was genuinely 3, if not 4 or 5 defenders there, and he just let it go anyway. And if it wasn't for his receiver for making an incredible play, like the receiver was the one who made the play, Jameis Winston said, "Fuck it, he's down there." So he said that. But if it wasn't for his receiver, fucking one hand snatching it out of the fucking defenders, then he would have been all over my social media. Jameis Winston would have been the meme of the day, or the meme of the week, because there was genuinely no reason why he should have thrown that ball, but he did, and luckily the receiver made a play, caught it, and Jameis Winston isn't a meme. But the fact that I noticed this already kind of makes him a meme. So yeah, Jameis Winston, he's kind of mentally insane in my opinion. I don't know if it's good or bad, but man, I love him. Gotta respect him for it, So Panthers beat the Saints 20-14. And we move on. We move on to Patriots versus Ravens. I don't really have anything to say about this game, like the game itself. But I just want to say what the whole NFL community is saying right now. Pay Lamar Jackson Jr. Please. Pay this man. This guy is playing crazy. Even last week when they lost to the Dolphins in a grueler, or like they got clutched on by the Dolphins, it was a bit of a choke on the Ravens' behalf. But even then, I told you guys, I thought it was just another Lamar Jackson Jr. fucking game. Like, I thought it was just, it was him just going off again. Once again, there he goes, running and throwing and doing whatever the hell he wants to do because it's going to work out anyway. Well, that's kind of the case with the game this week with the Patriots. He did that, except obviously the Patriots aren't as good as the Dolphins, so Ravens were just going off. They were just absolutely going off. Sorry. Not the Ravens. Lamar Jackson was going off. And so if you guys don't know this, Lamar Jackson got offered something like, around the ballpark of $250 million. But this guy turned it down because the Browns offered Deshaun Watson, who's suspended right now, but they offered Deshaun Watson even more, right? And Deshaun Watson hasn't even shown out. Like, he doesn't even have the experience that Lamar Jackson has, and he got offered that much. I'm not saying that Deshaun Watson is necessarily worse than Lamar Jackson, right? Because I personally have kind of the opinion that Lamar Jackson in the postseason is not as good as Lamar Jackson in the regular season. I feel like he sometimes tenses up and he's like, okay, well, I don't want to be, too selfish and do all the work, right? Or then maybe in the postseason, everybody expect, whatever. But so right now, Lamar Jackson turned down whatever Ravens offered him. And now he's kind of just playing the rest of the season. And I mean, either way, if he stays with the Ravens or he goes to another team, his stock is only going upwards. So please, someone pay this guy. He has more total. This is an insane stat. He has more total touchdowns than 30 NFL teams. Like, isn't that insane? And he is the number one in pass touchdowns, right? Throwing touchdowns to a teammate. He's number one. And then he's number one for passer rating. So, fucking completion percentage, pretty much. And he's tied number 4 for rushing yards, dude. This guy is genuinely the top, running back in the NFL. I saw another stat in the morning. This guy would be ranked number 5 on NFL fantasy points if he was a running back. He would be number 5 in the running back list. That is insane to me, right? Because not only does he know when to make plays like that, it's also that he actually pulls them off, and he doesn't give a you know how dangerous it is for a quarterback to run, genuinely, because when a quarterback actually starts running, dude, the defensive players, they don't give a fuck. They want to get you down ASAP. So, man, Lamar Jackson, just pay that man. I love him doing his thing. It's really fun to watch his games. You always know he's gonna pull some amazing shit. So, yeah, good on the Ravens for beating the Patriots 37-26. All right. So next up we have Vikings versus Lions. And this was probably the most back and forth game we had this week after the Dolphins and the Bills game. Both teams were trading points, until the Lions scored a field goal and a touchdown in the third quarter, and they were leading by 10 going into the fourth quarter. Which is crazy, right? Lions were up by 10 going into the fourth quarter, and going into the last minute of the game, it was 24-21 to the Lions still, and Vikings had a chance to clutch, and Kirk Cousins was able to clutch with his second string receiver that resulted to a win. And yeah, it's another this is giving me 2021 Lions vibes right now. It was a bit of a choke, considering the Lions defense did make a few plays to get the ball back. So, yeah. But then again, it was good to see Kirk Cousins do well. But, dude, where the hell is Justin Jefferson, yo? I thought, didn't Justin Jefferson say he was going to be the number one wide receiver after this season, bro? And he ain't even on a clutch, too. Kirk Cousins, Viking clutch. He wasn't there, bro. He wasn't cooking that much, bro. So, I don't know. Maybe the Vikings didn't even have to be in a situation to clutch if Justin Jefferson was cooking. But who knows? I'm not going to judge the man too hard, but all I know is if he wants to be number one wide receiver in the NFL after this season, then he's got a lot of catching up to do. But otherwise, I don't have many more insights about this game. Vikings beat the Lions 28-24. Commanders versus Eagles. Jalen Hurts is really good. Eagles are pretty damn good. Carson Wentz sucks. Commanders suck. So, Eagles beat the Commanders 24-8. Yeah. All right. Going into the next game, this was the motherfucker of the week. This was the motherfucker of motherfuckers this week. This was the upset of the week, no doubt. Colts versus Chiefs. I mean, Jesus. Who would have bet on that? Who would have bet on the Colts, right? Right. Who's stupid enough to bet on the Colts, But like Drake said, Patty Mahomes about to fall short a couple hundred, I mean, I'm not a dick rider. I really am not a Chiefs dick rider, so I'm not going to say this upset was heartbreaking. Oh, my God, it sucks so much to see this upset. But it sucks so much seeing the Colts win, dude. Fuck the Colts. Who the fuck gives a shit about the Colts, dude? I'm happy for Matt Ryan for having a win, but otherwise, everyone else, go fuck yourself. I mean, I just don't Chiefs losing is one thing, but Colts winning, oh my God, stop, please make it stop. Right? It's just it's kind of upsetting to see the offensive struggles with the Chiefs. I I think they don't realize how important Tyreek Hill was to their offensive core. Because right now, I genuinely think Patrick Mahomes only can throw to Travis Kelce. And he's a tight end. It's like there's only so much he can do, you know? And it's not like he has the speed to run it fucking deep either to make a big play. So, and it's genuinely like if a team just realizes how to defend Travis Kelce, then it's like, well, you know, Chiefs are really not going to be up to anything. So I think we're at a point where teams are figuring out how to counter the Chiefs offense, and it showed in this game. And I mean, for me, truthfully, I mean, it's good that Mahomes is throwing to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is my tight end. He's the number one tight end in the league, right? He's the only tight end that puts up big numbers. But it's just like we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who everyone was talking about his legacy and his everything, and the fact that he got one of the biggest NFL contracts, you know, ever, and he's getting paid so much money and all that. And it's just like, okay, well, this isn't good for him. This really isn't good for him, losing to the Colts like that, you know, and a low scoring game, especially. I mean, there was a video of like Mahomes getting into it with the offensive coach after the game, and I get it, man. They're in the shitter now, dude. They're in the shitter compared to the other years. They're in the shitter. So, you know, hopefully the Chiefs can make some improvements, especially with the wide receivers. I think they still have a pretty good running back. What is his name? It's really weird. Like some L-Air, some shit like that. Sorry, I always forget his name. It's so weird. But, yeah. I guess. But, yeah. Okay, no. I'm going to be honest. Truthfully, respect to the Colts for pulling an upset. You know, I always have to respect an upset. I have to respect the underdog win. So, all right. I'll give you that much. Next game. So, wait, hold up. Yeah, Colts beat the Chiefs 20-17. So, yeah. Yeah, good on them, I guess. Next game was Bears versus Texans, and the Bears beat the Texans 23-20. And uninteresting team beats a boring team, or bad team beats worst team. So, yeah. That's it. That's it. I don't give a fuck about either organization, so fuck it. All right, let's move on. Let's just move on. Anyways, next game was Chargers versus Jaguars. And this one is a weird one because I don't know if you could say it was an upset. Okay, no. Honestly, you could say it was an upset. It was a slight upset. I think it's blown out of proportion if you say it's a full-on upset. Oh my God, the Chargers got absolutely destroyed, and oh my God, you know. But I think the Jaguars, they've had a lot of potential in Trevor Lawrence and their offensive core. I think they're definitely one of those teams that are very effective if they can hit their stride. So the Jaguars the Jaguars showed up. You know, I guess it adds to the fact that it's probably an upset. The fact that they were playing in Chargers Stadium too. They were away from home, the Jags, and they were still able to beat the Chargers. I think genuinely one of the problems right now with the Chargers is they can't run the ball as well anymore. You know, they can't run the ball at all, and all they depend on is Herbert's monster arm to just fucking sling it out to receivers. And I think it's just too much. I mean, Jesus, there was one Herbert throw that was absolutely insane this game. It was like more than a 50-yard throw. And it was like in motion across. Like Justin Herbert was like in motion, running out of pocket, and then he was like going towards the sideline, so at an angle, and then he still threw it kind of like across, and it was just an absolute rocket that got caught. But yeah, other than that, there was not much that the Chargers did that was impressive. And on the other hand, that's the thing, the Jaguars were doing. Everything they did was pretty darn impressive. They got a really good offensive core. They got some pretty darn decent receivers and a couple darn decent running backs. So, and they have Trevor Lawrence, former number 1 pick in the draft. So, yeah, it's great to see. It's always great to see like teams actually make improvements, and Jaguars are definitely doing that right now. So, yeah, give Chargers, please just try to like give Herbert's arms a rest. You're not trying to blow out this guy's arm like those freaking MLB pitchers, So just, please come up with some plays where you can have some good screens, good running back, make a play, That's all I need from you. And then you're good. And you won't get destroyed 38-10 at home by the Jaguars. Okay? So that kind of stuff won't happen anymore if you just make those improvements. So thank you. And moving on, we have another matchup between two very decent teams. It was the Cardinals versus the Rams. And they played it in Cardinals territory. And the Rams were able to pull off a win on the road, and the defense is still looking. The Rams' defense is still looking as strong as all the other years. Genuinely, I think they're still very consistent. They're still performing like they should be, and playing insane. Basically, the defensive team. But I think the problem now is that the other defensive teams are starting to figure out the Rams' offense, because right now the Stafford-Cooper Kupp, like Matthew Stafford-Cooper Kupp duo is not dominating like last year. Like they're I wouldn't even say anywhere close to how they were performing last year. So I think there's or they're just not as impactful. I mean, sure, they're still making plays, but it's, it's not the plays that actually count or matter. But since the Rams defense is absolutely nuts, it was a 0 touchdown game for the Cardinals. They were just kicking field goals on field goals. They kicked 4 field goals. They scored 12 points. And then the Rams were able to score a touchdown or 2. So, yeah, Cardinals. It just shows that sometimes all you really need is a fucking good defensive team, truthfully. And this is a good showing of that. The Cardinals were just couldn't respond to the Rams defense, and the Rams offense eventually got something together. So it was a good showing. It was like, the Rams got the win, but I think the Rams still have a long way to go if they want to go back-to-back for Super Bowl. I genuinely think so. They can't just depend on only the defense like in this game. But yes, we can go on. We'll go on to the bad man versus the GOAT. Buccaneers versus Packers. Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. One of my favorite quarterback matchups ever. I love it when they play each other. I really do. They're two very classy men that are very... Actually, dude, you know what? It's kind of crazy. They're actually kind of different in the sense that Aaron Rodgers is very, very zen. Kind of like, peaceful quarterback. And then Tom Brady is just... He's known to fucking be throwing some rages this season. He's been smashing more than a couple iPads, you know what I'm saying? So I think at this point it is very clear to say that the Bucs offense are struggling immensely. They've had 3 games so far, and they've never scored more than 2 touchdowns in a game. Their highest scoring game was last week when they beat the Saints 20-10. And the only reason I can really find is that, dude, Gronk isn't there, dude. Gronk's not there anymore. And I don't think Tom Brady can win the same way that he does without Gronk. Where is Rob Gronkowski when you need him? I mean, of course, very, very respectable that the Gronk went into retirement. He understands that his time is up. He doesn't want to completely destroy his body. But, dude, Tom Brady must be going through it right now, man. Tom Brady, there's rumors that he's having a little bit of marital issues right now. I don't think it's anything serious. I'm pretty sure it's pretty just blown out of proportion, right? But I think you can see that, he isn't all happy and dandy like all those other years. And I think the problem is he thought it would have been different. Like, I think he thought he was going to do this because it's obvious this is his last year. I think he came into this year thinking that it's going to be all the same, right? And try to convince himself that it's going to be the same without Gronk, right? But, dude, it isn't the same without your brother, man. It ain't the same without your bestie, man. That's all I'm saying. I mean, the Packers already scored 2 touchdowns before the half, and then the Bucs scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And but this is the thing, right? Tom Brady does this every fucking time. I was watching this game, and I was like, all right, yeah, okay, Packers got this. All right, even though they don't have an insane lead, I'm just like, all right, Packers got this. Bucs are sucking right now. But then, of course, they score 1 touchdown, and they're basically kind of close to tying it up or to take it over or whatever. So going into the last bit of fourth quarter, after Tom Brady threw a touchdown, all they needed was a 2-point conversion to tie it up. And I was getting nervous again. I was like, no way Tom Brady pulls this bullshit again, where it's just he's horrible pretty much most of the game, and then, oh no, Tom Brady clutches. But I think that's the difference, man. I think if Gronk was there, I think if he was a little bit happier mentally, at a bit more peace, then I think he could have clutched it. But no clutching this time, thankfully. I mean, I kind of wanted the Packers to win. So, yeah, Packers were able to clutch. I have to admit the Packers defense were playing really, really well. You can see that the Packers offense sometimes is still having their struggles, but they're doing okay. I still think the Packers are genuinely top 10 in the league still. They're still very strong. But, yeah, Tom Brady misses the Gronk, man. Tom Brady misses the Gronk. So, I mean, I personally think it would have been pretty legendary if the Gronk and Brady retired both at the same time. Yeah, I hope Tom Brady at least makes playoffs. So you make like a send off in the postseason and all that. But but it's just like, better to just play 1 year where it's kind of just like throw away a year, get the bag, and then it's like go chill instead of, because when he stops this year, he's stopping forever. He doesn't, and it's not like some quarterbacks where they're so good and they just keep on signing and signing for cheap with like horrible teams. So, and I'm sure the Bucs staff, they're gonna do all they can to help the man out. So, all right, Packers beat the Bucs 14-12, and the next game is the Battle of the Birds. It was Seahawks versus Falcons. Unfortunately, my Seattle Seahawks couldn't come through with the win. This was also a very back and forth game. There wasn't many. Both teams were responding to each other's scoring. Unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks offense got shut down by the defense of the Falcons and weren't able to score, and then the game got solidified, or the game result got solidified when Geno Smith threw a interception. So, yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. It just sucks a little bit. I mean, sucks a little bit. Seahawks is like, if I had to root for one franchise, it would be the Seahawks, but they're struggling right now. So, lost to the Falcons, 27-23. We can move on. Broncos country. Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride. Thank you, Jesus. Don't let others' darkness steal your light. Keep shining. God, there is nobody like you. Let's ride. Another win. Another win from our boy Russell Dubs. He was absolutely out cooking the 49ers, with a win 11-10. Boy was cooking. Another win. Let's fucking go. Dude, you know how hype it gets me when I wake up, because, this was in the later slot. Sorry, I didn't watch the game, guys. I had school the next morning. Please forgive me. But do you know how good it feels when I wake up in the morning and I see Russell Wilson tweeting about, "Thank you, God. I am lucky to be alive today. Another win." It brings a smile to my face. And then Lewis Hamilton on his Instagram stories getting hyped over some Broncos interceptions, some receptions. I'm saying, I'm just, brings a smile to my face. Broncos country. Let's ride, man. Let's ride. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're winning the Super Bowl. Yo, hey, man. Let's go. All right, going on to the last game. Last game of the week. Prime time, Monday Night Football. Giants versus Cowboys. I thought the Giants were on a roll. I thought the Giants were going to keep on going on a roll. But, all right. You got to tip the Cowboys a little bit. Got to think that it's good for the Cowboys fans, so good for the community, so we don't have to hear about their complaining, for at least like a week. We can just chill the fuck out and don't have to hear the Cowboys fans complain about how bad their team is. The talk of the game was CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver of the Cowboys. He dropped what was seemingly a perfect throw and a guaranteed catch. He dropped it. for some reason. But then, never a doubt. Then later in the game, he absolutely started popping off. He caught a touchdown, bam, toe tap, full speed in the back left of the touchdown zone, made the play, made an insane, beautiful snatch. And we got to remember, this is the same pair of hands that when he was in the draft, it was broadcasted. He was in the draft, one phone, talking to his agent, probably something, draft related. And then he's got his second phone on his lap. And then his chick grabs the phone from his lap and then starts scrolling through the phone. And then the savage, she's like, still the phone here. And he goes like, no scope, snatches the fucking phone out of the chick's hand. It's like, nah, you ain't going through my phone. You know what I'm saying? This is the same pair of hands, man. Those hands are unbeatable. Those are legendary hands, man. So, good on CeeDee Lamb. What a fucking legend. I'm not going to say, it's such a surprise that the Giants lost. It really isn't much of a surprise. It was more of a surprise that they started off, 2-0. So, yeah, all right. Congratulations, Cowboys fans. Good on you guys. CeeDee Lamb doesn't miss. All right. But that's it for NFL news for this week. And we're going into F1 news right now. And it's interesting. So Singapore GP is this weekend. Very excited. Like I've expressed all the other episodes, I'm very excited to be back in Singapore and racing. I think it's a very good street circuit. I think it's super dope. I mean, I've been to Singapore before, and I just can't imagine what it looks like for there to be an actual, a racetrack in the middle of the streets. And oh my God. I mean, it's glamorous. It really is. And but we got some news related to, driver seats and all that. So the first thing on the news is Nicholas Latifi, the Canadian-Iranian driver for Williams. It just came out earlier this week that he will not be driving for Williams in the 2023 season. And, what a surprise, man. No way. This man deserves a seat. No one said that. His most legendary moment, his Goatifi moment, was when he single-handedly took the possible record-breaking 8th World Drivers' Championship from Lewis Hamilton. He took that record-breaking one, and he just gave it to the Flying Dutchman, to Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi, after fucking making another Latifi fucking spin for some reason, bumping into the barriers. Yellow car comes out. Max Verstappen overtakes Lewis Hamilton at the last lap. Everybody knows what the story is. But that's all he's known for, man. That's all he's known for. He isn't known for racing. He's known for crashing, bro. I'm sorry. It's just every single weekend, at some point, if we're talking about free practice, if we're talking about qualifying, if we're talking about the race itself, this guy spins out for some reason. Every time it's like, oh, I don't know what happened there. Oh no, the back just spun out on me. It's just like, all right, dude. He has he's been in Formula One he's been in Formula One in itself for a little bit now. I think like 5-6 years, because he was a reserves driver for a while. But he's been racing for 3 seasons, I think, and he scored a total of 7 points. And we're talking about like points that he got in Spa last season when, it was like half a race or whatever the hell it was, and some random like charity points, basically, kind of like George Russell's first podium. Like, come on, dude. But yeah, it's and it's he was a paid driver. Everybody knew his cup of tea. Everybody knew that he came to Williams with $30 million in his back pocket, for the Williams team, and that's why he got a seat in F1. And it's just hilarious because and the craziest thing is, people gave hate to Lance Stroll when he came into Formula One and he was a paid driver. And for those who don't know what paid driver means, is basically they give money to the team to let them drive instead of the other way around, where the team pays a driver to race for them. And that's just the world of F1 because it's such a damn expensive sport. But it's crazy because Lance Stroll got so much hate when he came into F1, right? And at that time, we thought everybody was under the impression that he was bad, right? But obviously, he's proven now that he isn't that bad at all, right? And that's like the funniest thing because no one even hates on Nicholas Latifi, dude. No one hates on Nicholas Latifi for being bad. Everyone just feels bad for him. It's kind of the best way I could describe it is there's this horrible environmental thing where some cultures they eat shark fins, right? And it's a big environmental issue where these sharks sometimes they get like the people eat the shark fins, not the shark itself. So you'll have fishermen, fish up shark. They cut their fins off, and then they throw the shark back into the ocean without their fins, and it just kind of, drop to the bottom of the ocean because they can't move at all, or swim at all. So that's how I kind of feel like it is like with Latifi. It's like him as a shark that has been finned. He's still a shark, in the ocean, but you don't have it. You don't have it like the other sharks, You ain't got the thing that the other sharks have that make them sharks, dude. The poor man. I mean, Jesus, man. Hey, he made his mark. He certainly made his mark. So, yeah. You will be missed. But not really. Anyways. Yeah, let's see. Maybe he can win. Hey, dude. At the end of the day, you can learn a lot from handling a F1 car, especially for 3 years. So, hey, man. He still has a probably pretty promising racing career, but just not in F1, buddy. Just not in F1. Anyways, this news I'm fucking hyped about, man. This one really got me. This got me hyped up. My Chinese brother, Zhou Guanyu, is re-signing with Alfa Romeo for the 2023 season, which is fucking hype, man. He has solidified himself as more than capable racer. He scored points in 3 different occasions this season. In his rookie season, he scored points on his rookie debut in Bahrain, which is absolutely insane. Since then, he scored points in, I think it was, Hungary, maybe? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I forgot. Canada, because he performed really well in Q3. Yeah, this guy performed really well in Q3 when it was rainy, yo. Come on, what are we talking about? And then Italy. Yo, he was driving in an Alfa Romeo car, in an Italian car, in Monza, of all places, and he got points. Yo, come on. Put some respect on this man's name, man. And, like, of course, you can argue, yeah, but he since he's Chinese, he generates so much revenue that it's, like, hard for F1 or just generally a team to let go of him. Yes, you can argue that, or, whatever. But you guys have to understand, yo, this guy bit the bullet and had the most viral moment so far of the F1 season, where, in Silverstone, George Russell or Pierre Gasly, whatever you want to argue, but taps Zhou Guanyu in the back wheel a little bit and fucking sends his 100 million whatever car into a goddamn breakdancing, lesson, at 150 kilometers per hour. That car was fucking doing some crazy shit, and before it fucking barrel rolls into the fucking fences, and that was the most viral moment so far this season. And my brother was in the car, my boy was in the car right there. So if anything, that should prove to you that, hey man, he took that kind of crash for y'all. He at least deserves one more year. But on a serious note, I genuinely think he's a good racer. I saw, this might be a little bit cap, but I even saw on like Twitter that he actually somehow extracts more pace out of his car than Valtteri Bottas does on some occasions. Of course, Alfa Romeo, it's the constructor themselves, they've had a lot of struggles this season. At the start of the season, they were looking pretty darn strong as a midfield team, but unfortunately, a lot of DNFs, a lot of technical problems always seem to slow down the whatever pace, or momentum that the team has. But, just it's awesome to see him alongside Valtteri Bottas. It has to be close to the heart, China man and a Finnish man racing together. I mean, goddamn, it's a dream come true for the kid, So, dude, as far as chinks go, this man is the fucking top dog. It was awesome to see Hamilton express, support to Joe. Given that they are minorities, in a sport that there's a lot of white dudes that are loaded, but there's some Asian boys that are loaded too. You know what I'm saying? And Zhou Guanyu, he can drive the shit out of that Italian car for now, man. Dude, if he can do what he's been doing and keeps on, putting on strong performances, I wouldn't be surprised if after Alfa Romeo he signs to a very decent midfield team, and if he does really well there, then I see no reason why he couldn't end up in top dog, team like Ferrari or Mercedes or something like that. Genuinely, I think there's a bright future for my Asian brother, my Chinese brother, Zhou Guanyu. And I'm just hyped, man. I'm hyped to see him. I just want to see him race, man. I really do. So, and it's like, every time, it gives me a reason to, talk about that shit with my mom, for example. I'm like, yo, what's happening in Formula One? That Zhou Guanyu boy go crazy. And my mom gets hype off that stuff too. So nice to see. And, yeah, congrats to him. And I can't wait to see him race more. And anxious weekend for the Ferrari fans, since Max Verstappen can win the World Drivers' Championship this weekend if he finishes P1, if he finishes first place, that means, and has the fastest lap, and Charles Leclerc finishes 8th or lower. Realistically, this probably would not happen, just because, I won't be surprised if Max Verstappen gets first place and gets the fastest lap, but I will be surprised if Charles Leclerc finishes 8th or lower. At the end of the day, Singapore is a street circuit. There is definitely more overtaking that can happen in Singapore, but it's still a street circuit, so there's not going to be that many overtaking. So, and Charles Leclerc is, at the end of the day, he's a very good driver. So I don't see a reason other than if someone gets ridiculously unlucky with a red flag or a yellow flag, then yes. Ferrari fans, calm down. It's okay. It's inevitable. I'm sorry. It's inevitable. Max Verstappen's going to win, but at least you can enjoy the Singapore GP, right? Come on, enjoy it. It's gonna be a fun weekend, man. We've been on a long break now, so it's good to see F1 back, and man, I'm excited for race weekend. All right, well that was all I had for F1 news, and honestly, for UFC news, I don't have much at all. There's some small fight nights happening, but UFC 280 is coming up, and that's going to be talk of the town, but that's for another week. But all I have right now is so they have a fight night this weekend in the UFC Apex, or the UFC Performance Institute, in Vegas, and for some reason, Mark Zuckerberg has decided to rent out the whole place for the weekend. So no media is going to be allowed there for the fight night, and only broadcast members. So I don't know. I don't know what that robot man is attempting, but it kind of scares me a little bit. I mean, obviously Mark Zuckerberg has openly expressed his passion and his hobby of mixed martial arts, right? So it kind of makes sense, but given the fact that this is like one of the first like actual private fights that the UFC has like thrown, right? It's genuinely a private fight for just Mark Zuckerberg and whoever the hell he wants to bring with him. I mean, fuck, man, that's the Illuminati finna be there as the audience, you know what I'm saying? But I'm guessing they're going to broadcast it normally. But Jesus, imagine you're a fighter ready to perform on the big stage. And these are fight night fighters. So these guys aren't ranked. They're probably on like a 3-fight, fight contract. They're finally in the UFC. But then they got to look. And they're in a kind of like, they're not even in a stadium. They're in just a big conference room pretty much with a fucking octagon. You see fucking Facebook guy just sitting in the sidelines, just staring you down with those soulless eyes, those robot alien eyes. And I'd be pretty nervous. I don't know. I'd be a little bit distracted. Imagine he's just in the sidelines, Facebook guy on the sideline analyzing you like a fucking code for his algorithm. And imagine he has like some kind of algorithm where instead of suggesting the perfect ad for you at the moment, he's kind of like, it suggests the perfect like combo to throw towards your enemies, or something like that, the most effective combo. I don't know, dude. It's a little bit scary. I don't know what's happening. Dana White is making some sketchy deals, some sketchy event deals with Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know what's happening. Ooh, and it works out too because he's got a Chinese wife, and it's a Chinese lady who's fighting in the main event. Ooh, I didn't even think about that one. Shit. That could be kind of fun. Well, that's kind of sweet. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, anyways, I guess the Illuminati is going to be the freaking audience for the UFC fight night this weekend, which yeah, okay. I mean, I'm genuinely going to tune into this fight night. I probably wasn't gonna, but I'm probably going to tune into this fight night just to see what the crowd looks like, if they're going to just pan to Mark Zuckerberg just being like, or some shit. But yeah. Anyways, I don't have much. I'm gonna save the UFC 280 talk for the build-up week, for the fight week. So, anyways, that's it for this week. Pretty simple week. Let me know if you guys really want me to talk about some other sports. I'm going to slowly start talking about NBA because the season's, slowly building back up. The media day was just this week for the NBA. So I'm going to start slowly picking up the pace with that one. And other than that, let me know if I should talk about just general sports news as well, because there are big topics that are obviously, but I just don't think it could be that effective if I don't really know that much about the sport. But then again, sometimes there's such big topics that, you really can't ignore, like, Roger Federer retiring and all that. Like, that was heartwarming as fuck. Yo, I almost dropped some tears when, Roger Federer was thanking his wife for letting him play. Like, dude, that's some real shit, dog. That's some, like, real shit. So I could talk about that. Stuff like that as well. But, hey, everyone, enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the sports that's going to pop up this weekend. And, yeah, have a good one. We're balling.